Hi folks, happy Sunday or happy Monday if you're watching this on a Monday. I realized the other day that I record and upload this for a Sunday and I live in the Western Hemisphere. So for many of you, it's already Monday when this gets uploaded. So I figured it was kind of a bit silly of me to say happy Sunday when some of you have already had your Sunday over and done with anyway. This is another informal video. I'm recording this on a Friday. It's the last thing I do in the week before I head home and enjoy a well-earned rest, and I talk about something that's been bugging me or a thought I've had or something I want to explore in more detail that I wouldn't ordinarily discuss in my main videos. This week I want to talk to you about making informed choices when it comes to supporting companies that operate in an environmentally responsible way. Earlier this week I had the wonderful Kiki Sanford on, Dr. Kiki, talking about the IPCC climate change report and how we can all make small changes to help reduce our carbon emissions, whether that is driving less, using more public transport, walking more, changing what we eat, so eating less meat or maybe going vegetarian or vegan. And off that, I wanted to talk to you about being informed when it comes to buying products and services and trying to use your money to support companies who are doing business in a responsible way. Specifically when it comes to car companies. So many car companies today are actually switching their energy generation and the energy they use for some of their big facilities away from coal and oil-fired power stations towards using renewable energy, whether that is photovoltaic solar panels on the roof or wind farm that's nearby, or biomass, some other renewable form of energy. And the reason why some of these big companies are doing it is partly because in some parts of the world there are incentives to doing that, but also because it's become a lot more cost effective for large businesses, certainly, to use renewable energy rather than fossil fuels to power their plants. That's especially useful, of course, if you're making an electric car and you can say, hey, this car was created using as carbon neutral a process as we can possibly get. There is going to be emissions involved in making an electric car, just as there are emissions involved in making an internal combustion engine vehicle. But if you're buying a new car, maybe we should be now asking, what was the footprint? What was the energy footprint, the carbon footprint that went into making this vehicle? And some companies will have some products will have a lower carbon footprint than others. It could be something as simple as, was this vehicle made and then shipped halfway around the world? Or was it made locally to you, reasonably locally? Was it then transported to you using a fairly low carbon method? Or was this put on a container ship and spent, 2 months at sea to now be on your driveway? So we need to all be asking these questions of car companies and other companies that produce goods that we consume on a daily basis. And I think it's something that we all need to be more mindful of. The BMW i3 strikes me as being a car that is generally quite sustainably produced. They make the material that is used in the carbon fiber reinforced plastic, the CFRP panels, that is spun in Washington state here in the United States. It's spun using renewable energy. Yes, it is shipped around the world, but it is done in a way that is fairly efficient in terms of mass versus carbon output. The actual facilities where the i3 is made, a lot of those facilities are actually powered by renewable electricity. And there are recycled components in the vehicle themselves. So we talk about all these little choices that we can make along the way. If we become engaged in the process, we actually start to think about where this product came from. Are we using leather seats that were fairly energy intensive to produce, used a lot of chemicals to tan the leather, relied on cows emitting methane and other gases to give their lives for the leather? Or are we using seats that are made from recycled materials? There are now choices for us, and we live in the age of the internet. And at one time, when I was younger, finding out information like this was hard work. You'd have to go to the library, you'd have to ask lots of questions, you had to know your Dewey Decimal System, you had to write lots of letters. These days, the internet is a great source of information. It's a great source of knowledge. And as long as you apply kind of traditional pre-internet research methodology to searching online, you can come up with some really fantastic information at the tip of your fingers. It's really easy for you as a consumer to go, okay, which of these companies is being the most sustainable? Which of these companies is producing a product that I want to buy, but is also being careful about their emissions in the process? And I think that's something I want to ask your opinion on. Is it something that you worry about when you buy a car? Is it something you worry about when you buy a phone, or even when you're at the grocery store and you're buying things? We've got so used to buying things out of season that a lot of us don't even think about it anymore. And when we buy something out of season, generally what happens is the thing that we're buying that would traditionally not be available at the time we want to buy it is either raised in a greenhouse or a hydroponics warehouse using energy, sometimes very extensive energy consumption, so that you can enjoy it off season, or it's produced thousands of miles away and then shipped around the world. Those choices that we make do impact our lives here on Earth. And I think it's really important that we don't just focus on our transportation. We focus on our whole life. So it's something I'm going to try and be more mindful of. And I want to know if that's something that you're willing to have a go at doing as well. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Support us on Patreon. Go and buy those t-shirts, the OPEC scaring t-shirt from Teespring, and tell everybody about the show, because we're growing at an amazing rate, but we can only continue to grow if people tell other people about us. And the bigger we get, the easier it is for us to do, all of the fun things that we want to do, like all of the challenges and covering these new vehicle launches and helping entertain and educate people about cleaner, greener, safer and smarter transport. Thank you for putting up with this rather rambly Sunday post. I'm kind of tired. I will see you next week. Keep evolving.